Good afternoon, and thank all of you for coming out today. July 1st marked the end of my first year in office, and I'd like to bring you up to date on how I see the state of our city. From a financial standpoint, the state of the city is good. We continue to remain very close to our budget without any substantial invasion into any rainy day or reserve funds. However, I do see a potential need to find additional sources of revenue to support various city operations. I've noticed in the past year that payment of the federally required overtime has been excessive, and I have been addressing this situation in meetings with our city clerk and various department heads. We will get control of this expense. As you probably know, our principal sources of revenue for our operating funds are the city's portion of sales tax collections we receive from the state of Mississippi and our portion of ad valorem taxes we receive by virtue of taxation on real and personal property within our city limits. With respect to sales tax, the collections have remained relatively constant over this past year. The state, by its own lawmaking, only provides municipalities 18.5% of the total collected sales tax revenue. Ad valorem, or property tax, is based upon a millage rate of assessed value. However, if we want to expand police protection or the operations of our Public Works Department, we may need to consider a millage increase so as to be able to cause the collection of more ad valorem taxes to enhance our budget. But as stated above, we are financially solvent at this point in time. Over the past year, the city has seen a number of projects come to fruition, including the improvement of our municipal swimming pool with the addition of a new filtration system. Under the leadership of Albert Williams, the pool was enjoyed by hundreds of citizens this past summer. Additionally, the Mississippi Department of Environmental Quality has provided us with some matching grant funds to start a recycling program here in Clarksdale. I feel this program is long overdue for us. The primary purposes of recycling are what is referred to as landfill aversion, or the reduction of the amount of material we place in landfills, and the reduction of our consumption of our natural resources. Under the guidance of Animal Shelter Department Head Rob Harris, we are making strides toward getting the animal shelter operating more efficiently at its current location, while at the same time we are looking toward constructing a new state-of-the-art shelter. There is a volunteer effort underway to piece together a land area, and then when that is complete, we'll be putting the pieces of the puzzle together to construct a new building. 2 historic markers were unveiled in Clarksdale this past week. One honoring Dr. Aaron Henry for his civil rights activities, and another honoring Big Jack Johnson for his contributions as a blues guitarist. The Walton Foundation and Southern Bancorp have continued to provide Clarksdale and Coahoma County with funding for a number of very worthwhile projects, including the Martin Luther King Jr. stage, which was dedicated on June 27th. And as well as providing funding for the continued demolition of decrepit and abandoned property, which are often used by criminals as hiding places for stolen goods and for gang activity. As you are aware, I am and have been determined to clean up our city from both a figurative and literal standpoint. In the figurative sense, I am referring to better control of crime and the solving of committed crimes, and I commend our Chief of Police, Whit Reed, as well as his Assistant Chiefs, Robbie Lindley and Milton Williams, and the police department in general for its fine work in both patrolling, investigating, and successfully solving crimes. To date, through right at 7.5 months of this calendar year, there have been only 3 homicides in Clarksdale. All 3 were retaliatory in nature, meaning the killer targeted a single identified victim. And of course, while I do not condone homicides for any reason or of any nature, I am pleased with the fact that none of these homicides were related to armed robbery or residential break-in or the like. 3 homicides at this point of the year is below our average, and I hope we can sustain this trend from now on. I'm also very pleased with a local group called Seniors for a More Livable Community. This AARP group unveiled 9 neighborhood watch signs just today, and I encourage them to continue their effort to continue all the way across the city of Clarksdale in this effort. Our fire department is well trained and well equipped. We operate 3 fire stations, and our assistant chiefs have taken on extra duties, serving as sanitation officers. Our firemen not only inspect buildings for fire code compliance, as well as keeping their equipment in good condition and ready and available to fight fires, but they serve secondary missions as well. They serve warnings and citations on illegal activity, such as violation of our parking in the yard ordinance, and assisting us in many other ways. We must continue to improve the appearance of our city. In study after study I review, from everything on how to increase your retail sales tax to how to attract new businesses, community appearance is always at the top of the list. And while I respect a person's right to certain privileges, I do not respect a person's conduct in junking up one's property to the detriment of the neighborhood and to the detriment of other good, law-abiding citizens. I can assure you that I will continue to increase the intensity of our effort to clean up our streets and our city in the literal sense. Many people complain that there's nothing to do for our youth during the summer months. I disagree. There are dozens of activities for youth. It may take some searching and some initiative, but I commend the Healthy Campus Community Initiative, headed up by Leslie Johnson and brought to us through the efforts of Dr. Leslie Griffin through Delta State University and through a grant provided by Blue Cross and Blue Shield Foundation. It was pleasing to see all of the activities involving so many children through the summer over at the Higher Ed Center. Camp Rock is an example of what can be done to expose our youth, and especially underprivileged youth, to activities such as archery and canoeing, even golf. I commend this effort. I congratulate Director John Caraway and the Clarksdale Park Commission for its work in providing balls and use of fields for both baseball and softball. And through Heather Williams, I've enlarged our Facebook page presence so as to include lists of summertime activities. As many of you know, I initiated a mentorship program early in my term. Unfortunately, by the time we got some structure and organization and 40 or 50 volunteers in place, it was time for summer break from school. And I'm hoping and praying we will get this project up and running as we approach, or are now into, actually, our school year. I commend Pastors Don Donovan of Clarksdale Baptist Church and Pastor Keith Powell of New Morning Star Church on their efforts to keep this project alive. I continue to invite the municipal school district, along with Superintendent Dennis Dupree and his school's principals, in providing the identity of at-risk children for whom our volunteers can serve as mentors. Additionally, I have been participating in an initiative called Boys of Color, which is seeking funding from the Kellogg Foundation, and I commend it for its efforts. Unless and until we get our youngsters on a good progressive path, which keeps them involved in wholesome, healthy activities and keeps them in the school system, we will continue to see high rates of incarceration of our youth as a result of the criminal activity. We must break this cycle of poverty, and we must do a better job to educate our youngsters, and we must find ways to start this process for more children at an earlier age. I really like the idea of starting a large community garden. I have looked around for a location, and I feel that the vacant area in front of the old Delta Wire building out on Highway 322 is suitable. If we could dedicate a few acres to such a garden, we could manage it with volunteers. I've contacted Ed Stauffer, and he has agreed to serve as a co-leader for this project. and I request that more interested volunteers step forward. We can involve people of all ages and backgrounds into this effort and reward those who put their time and effort with fresh produce. I would like to see a farmer's market established right in front of the garden for Saturday morning sales. Community gardens are a good way to increase a sense of community ownership and stewardship. It has been proven over and over again that community gardens are an excellent way to build self-esteem and pride in one's community. And I believe it will be a healthy, inexpensive activity for youth that can bring them closer to nature, allow them to interact with each other in a socially meaningful and physically productive way. I commend President Val Towner at Coahoma Community College for his reaching out to the entire community in seeking support for Coahoma Community College and its various activities. And I commend the college for its workforce training and its career and technical education department. Not everyone is a candidate for a 4-year liberal arts education. There is a need for plumbers, electricians, bricklayers, carpenters, auto mechanics, welders, and other trades. And I'm pleased when I read that certain local companies are reaching out to our college for workforce training. Word gets around in the industrial and corporate communities as to which communities are sincere in their efforts to help train workers. We have been very blessed in Clarksdale with the recent expansion of Metso, the continued growth of Air Guide and American Green Technology, the opening of a new Crystal, the opening of a new Hampton Inn, the opening of a new Church's Chicken, We Wireless, Popeyes has reopened with a new look, and we have seen the opening of several downtown businesses. I commend Keith Albrecht for opening his novelty shop on Yazoo, Jerry McCrae for Dreamboat Barbecue, and to the owners of Holy Moly. And I urge all of our citizens to shop Clarksdale. Remember that when you buy online or out of our city, you are sending your money out of state typically, and you're not paying local sales tax. And we must support our local businesses to keep our city viable. I'm continually amazed by the number of tourists who are visiting Clarksdale on a regular basis. Just last week on Wednesday night, during a 45-minute span, I welcomed visitors from Denmark, from Spain, 3 different groups from Italy, Belgium, England, Brazil, and the Netherlands. Please greet these tourists with open arms and big smiles. They contribute to our economy, and Clarksdale finds itself the envy of other Mississippi cities because of the number of tourists we attract. Most of us do not pay particular attention to the fact that we have numerous ambassadors who represent our city worldwide. I'm talking about blues musicians who regularly make trips to destinations such as Israel, Japan, Norway, France, Germany, Switzerland, and the United Kingdom. Among this number of ambassadors include James Super Chicken Johnson and his band, the Fighting Cocks, Heather Cross and her band, Heavy Sugar and the Sweet Tones, Bill Holmans, also known as Watermelon Slim, Terry Harmonica Bean, who, although he's from Pontotoc, tells everybody he's from Clarksdale and teaches here at the museum. Even George Brock, who is from St. Louis now, but originally from Clarksdale. Stan and Dixie Street, who travel all the time to Brazil, Mississauga, Canada, a suburb of Toronto, and on and on. Even Robert Bilbo Walker has been to Italy promoting Clarksdale and the blues. I would like to take this opportunity to thank our Clarksdale-Coahoma County Airport Board, headed up by David Huggins, and the United States Air Force Reserve for its innovative readiness training activities. If you have not visited our city-county airport, I urge you to do so. You will notice the new fixed-based operator, that's a fancy term for service station on the ground, as well as new T-hangers and a new ramp. All of this will be in operation soon and is in large part due to the cooperation we have with our county government, with the FAA, and with the Air Force reservists. I want to discuss something I talked about when I made my inaugural speech last July. And this is our citizens' attitudes. Attitude, by definition, is the way you think or feel about someone or something. Winston Churchill said, "Attitude is a little thing that makes a big difference." To Clarksdale's naysayers, perhaps you need to educate yourself a little better about what a gem of a city we enjoy. When I attend various meetings sponsored by the Mississippi Municipal League and talk with mayors, aldermen, councilmen, and one other city has commissioners from the other 290 or so cities and towns in Mississippi, I'm often congratulated about what we have going on here in Clarksdale. Name one other city in the country of our approximate population that enjoys the richest land this side of the River Nile, 55 inches of annual average rainfall, wonderful people, international name recognition, and where on any day you can meet people who come here from all over the world. No, we're not perfect and we have some problems to solve and address. But we would do better if you naysayers would think about what Abraham Lincoln said about attitude. He said, "We can complain because rose bushes have thorns, or we can rejoice because thorn bushes have roses." Like many Delta towns, we have suffered some loss of population over the last several decades. But unlike many Delta towns, our losses have been far less substantial. In fact, I see our population as having leveled off and now even increasing. I can't help but notice our downtown streets are busier than ever, especially at night, with patrons visiting and shopping in our stores, restaurants, clubs, and numerous film projects that are now going on here. So let's maintain a positive attitude about our city. In the past few months, I've made the acquaintance of a gentleman from Franklin, Tennessee, just south of Nashville, Williamson County. Franklin is located in the wealthiest county in the country in terms of average per capita income. My friend told me that Clarksdale is, quote, "a cool place to go," end quote, for tourists. And he and I are working together along with others in the community to attract more tourism through a project called the Americana Music Triangle. This triangle has three corners: Nashville, Memphis, New Orleans. It takes in an area geographically where 9 different musical genres evolved. He describes the big cities of Nashville, Memphis, and New Orleans as the postmen or centers if we were talking about a basketball team. And he calls Clarksdale the point guard, meaning we call the shots. We're working on various travel segments within the triangle called the Gold Record Road. And when this project gets a full rollout, especially in Europe and Australia, I expect we will see another market increase in tourism. I watched over the past year as one after another downtown apartment or living space has been created. This activity is very healthy for our downtown. I believe in our city slogan of keeping it real, as meaning we do not want to get too flashy or trashy, maybe even too cashy, in looking at the process of attracting tourists. I believe one word definition has been given to us several years ago of gritty. It's keeping going on what we've had going on. It's who we are. And I commend Bubba O'Keefe, Charles Evans, Mark Benson, Madge and Billy Howell, Gary and Carol Vincent for their continued work in the area of providing comfortable downtown living spaces and bringing in outsiders to visit us. I have noticed more and more downtown businesses sprucing up their facades, decorating with flowers, placing out trash receptacles and benches to make our downtown shopping areas more appealing to the eye. Our Public Works Department has been busy striping streets and trying to catch up with the grass mowing. I admit on the grass mowing. We got substantially behind on those landscaping efforts because of a number of circumstances. But hopefully those circumstances will not repeat themselves. We have 3 new grapple trucks ordered, and they should be here within the next few weeks. And that will result in much improved services in the picking up of various organic and other debris on our roadsides. Your board of mayor and commissioners need to lead by example. And I encourage each of our commissioners to visit their constituents in their respective wards and urge them to comply with our ordinances, especially those involving neighborhood appearance. I feel we're making steady progress. My office door and my telephone are always open. You come in with your ideas, your comments, and your criticisms. I look forward to serving you. Thank you. Now, I'd be happy to take a few questions if anybody has any. Somebody does. Yes, ma'am.
I'm Margaret McLeod. This, I'm not sure if this is under the city. You know what you had in the paper concerning the youth activity that would take place at the expo. Would you, if that's under the city, would you expound on that some?
There is, the expo center is owned by the county now, and it's been, there's been an arrangement made, as I understand it, with a youth organization that Ben Ernest and others are familiar with, to use that for county-wide, including all the cities within the county activities. So it's not under us, no, but I do hope to work with the county in the development of that particular center. We have over a $300,000 budget already that we use for our park commission. The director is John Caraway, and that commission is comprised of some individuals who make the policy decisions there. And the county has got a separate organization going on as well. But we hope to work closely with the county, and I'm glad that that center is now dedicated toward that end. So it's not under the city directly, but we'll work with the county. Thank you, Ms. McLeod. Anybody else? Somebody. I didn't answer everybody's questions with that talk, did I? All right. Yes, ma'am.
Could you tell us more about the plans for the recycling program? What is the...
I'll be happy to. We are in the nascent stages of the recycling program. Mark Taylor, who's right there on that first row, right up here. Stand up, Ms. Taylor. See. She is working, this is a joint city-county effort. We work very closely with Daniel Dassel and the supervisors, and we're going to be receiving any day now, I believe I'm safe to say. I don't know.
It's next week.
Next week. We're going to get 3 bins in. They're like large, like dumpsters. They're going to be especially outfitted with slots and that sort of thing, so that you hopefully we won't find people discarding refrigerators and sofas. It's not a dump site, okay? It's a recycle site. And we're going to have 1 bin just for cardboard, for boxes that you can flatten down. Another is going to be for what's called mixed paper, or just paper, catalogs, newspapers, leftover paper. Another is going to be for recyclable plastics. This is recyclable plastic. What you get food in at McDonald's is not. That styrofoam, semi stuff. We have 1 for the recyclable. I think they have a number 1 on the bottom if they can be recycled. And then we'll have another for the cans, the soda cans, the aluminum cans. So those will be the bins. They're going to be placed at the dead end of the street that is immediately west of the Walmart parking lot. That's going to be where we put them initially. And we have a trailer we've also bought that's kind of like a roll-on, roll-off for the big 40-yard containers or construction type containers. And we're going to contract, we're negotiating with some vendors who will take the recycled materials, except we will take them to them and they're going to pay us for that material. And when a bin fills up, we'll keep an eye on it. Ms. Taylor is going to be heading this up. She's working jointly for the city and the county. And she's going to ask our Public Works Department to go out with the trailer and deliver the full bin. And hopefully we're delivering it every day. I hope so. So I encourage you all to start saving now, because the bins will be there soon. Now, I have been to Batesville, and I've been to Greenwood, and I've done some reading on recycling. And we're certainly at the very infancy of it here in Clarksdale. Eventually, we'll have many more containers, and they'll be located in lots of locations. We'll have some especially for the bottles and the cans, like in the downtown areas. Believe it or not, glass is not something that is very easily recyclable. So we're not going to be collecting all those beer bottles you'll see downtown, but we will get the rest of it. So it'll be operational. We'll be putting that word out. And part of the grant we received from MDEQ that I talked about contains provisions for educating the public. So you'll see some rollout of materials and reminders and some perhaps crawlers on the channel, the cable network, and we're working on that educational side of it. Thank you for asking that. Good question. Yes, Steve.
Homes will not be given a bin, right? You'll take these out.
No, the homes will not.
Or whatever.
Right now, the homes will not. No,
okay.
No. The vendor we have for the home pickup will remain the pickup agent for the home trash and that sort of thing. You do have to deliver it, but we're hoping the citizens will make that effort to do that. It's a good thing to do. Eventually, we'll make it easier and easier to collect. But right now, it's going to take a little effort. But who doesn't go to Walmart once in a while, you know? That's when you take it. Put some boxes in your houses, let it build up, put them in your trunk, drive them out. Yes, Willis.
You know, you mentioned about working with the youth of Clarksdale, et cetera. And from just my observation, one of our programs here is called Spring Initiative. And Anya and Bianca have worked hard with that program. And it looks like they brought some of their students here, which I just want to commend them for, again, trying to expose them to things such as this. And you know, we do need to continue to work with the youth from Clarksdale, and they in particular got a good thing going, especially these two ladies from outside the United States are settled into Clarksdale.
Right.
So that's good.
It's very good, and thank y'all for being in the center. Ms. Ura.
Yeah, could you talk a little bit more about the Boys of Color initiative?
I can. Beverly Divers White, Dennis Hawkins, Desta Reff, Billy Martin, and probably missed a couple, and I are on a committee, and we have been putting together an application. Tim, are you doing that too, Tim Lampkin? Yeah, he's right there with us. We have been putting together an application for some money to be able to fully develop a very thorough application with the kind of the production side of it as well. And we have a meeting again coming up next week. It's going to Kellogg, who is a big funder of lots of activity here in the Mississippi Delta. So that's what it's about. It's about at-risk youth in probably the 7th, 8th grade. It won't be limited to boys of color, but that's the name that Kellogg has apparently given it. So it's targeted toward at-risk boys, right? We'll hopefully have a good announcement soon on that. Anybody else? Certainly. I'm not going to leave for about a minute. I'm going to let you think, because there's somebody going to walk out of here and say, I wish I'd asked something about that. I'll answer it if I can. Yes, Mr. Wright.
Any update on annexation?
Yes, I can tell you this much. I am continuing to work out a global settlement on annexation cases. It's a multifaceted situation. It's rather complicated. I expect to be looking at some maps that I think our board here can, or a map that our board here can agree on, and then we're going to go around and look at the other parties and other players in the cases and try to reach a global settlement. That's where that is right now. It will, I believe, in its final iteration, have areas that we will continue to seek to annex. In fact, we even may enlarge a few of them, but it'll also have some areas that are in the current annexation boundaries that will be omitted completely from the effort. So I think you'll see that some of North Clarksdale may drop out of the formula, and some broader, wider areas around the bypass especially may be brought in. And we'll still have to put on a case, even though we settle it, so to speak, to put on sufficient proof for a judge to sign off on it. So we're working on that now. That's been a lot slower process than I had earlier envisioned, but we're working on it. Yes.
I appreciate what you are trying to do in terms of cleaning up the town and cars parked in yards and that kind of thing. I thought that this town had some zoning laws related to businesses being run in neighborhoods, such as Shade Tree Mechanics.
It does.
Something that really concerns me.
A citizen is very limited in what that citizen can do in terms of being his own auto mechanic. You can change a flat tire. I think you can change the oil. There's some minor repairs that can be done, but that's for yourself or maybe a neighbor, and only on an occasional basis. So if you have information where someone's using their garage or driveway or carport or the street or whatever for running a business and charging for services, and they're doing other people's work or for other people, let us know. I know of one report that we checked out, and we may have gotten a little story out of it, I don't know, but we're going to keep looking further. But if you know of some addresses, you can call them into my office, and you want them to remain anonymous, that's just fine. You just tell me where they are, and I'll be the bad guy, okay? And about parking in yards, I've often said this, I'm going to say it one more time. The most important house to you is the one you live in. The next most important house to you is the one next door to you. And if the people next door to you are junking up their yards, they're hurting your value. Our assessed values have gone down slightly. I paid very close attention to that. Our city values dropped from like 97,200,000 and something thousand to 96,980,000 or something close to that. A little bit of difference. In terms of percentages, not much, but we didn't have any inflation factor in that, so the real values, assessed values, were down somewhat. Last night I attended a function that was hosted by Southern Bancorp out at Raymond's, and in driving out there, I noticed some vehicles parked just slap in the middle of their yards. And what did I do? Where's Chief Douglas? And I rang his phone off the wall, let me tell you. I called in 2 addresses, and I came back out of that dinner at Raymond's driving back this way, and thank you, both of them have been cleaned up. In the process of leaving there, if you look at the house that's at the address of like 146 or 148 Oakhurst, you'll see a person that has pride in their home and their community. Flowers, landscaping is beautiful. And those cars were just 2 doors down from him, and I stopped and congratulated him on taking such good care of his property, and reminded him that we had just caused the removal of a couple of people who don't mind rutting up their yard and making the neighborhood look unattractive, but that had been solved, and hopefully go back today, and I hope it's still solved. We seem to have a little recidivism rate going on with some of this cleanup, and we're going to have to keep cracking down on it. But thank you for asking. But Shade Tree Mechanicing, it's your own vehicle, and you're just taking care of yourself to a degree, that's fine. We can't have tripods out and jacked up engines hanging in yards and stuff. That's beyond what our ordinance allows, but some minor work is fine. You know, greasing your vehicle or oil change, changing the tire, filters, that's probably all okay. But other than that, no. Anything else? Anybody else? All right, thank you all again for, yes, Ms. Clerk.
Mayor, August 25th is the city's budget hearing, and I encourage people to attend that.
5:15, our meeting will start at 4 o'clock, and I'll start on time. I know those of you out there who come to these meetings regularly, I'm on time. And if I'm not here on time, you better send the chief for me, but anyway, we start that meeting at 4 o'clock on Monday, August 25th. At 5:15 that day, we're going to interrupt whatever we're doing in the meeting. Typically, they go well past 5:15. And we're going to invite comments from the public on our budget. And our budget can be looked at in Ms. Clark's office. We're posting these notices around. If you've got concern over a budget item, come on and talk about it. We're real close to last year's budget on most of this year's budget, but we did make some adjustments in some areas. Police is going to get a bit of an increase, and animal shelter salary, Rob, is going to get a little bump up, and so we're having to tweak it a little bit as things, change. But come give us your comments on it and study it if you'd like. I invite that. Thank you for bringing that to my attention. All right, anybody else, anything else? Thank you all again for being here.